Y&R Full Spoilers Friday, May 30, 2025 reveal that in a gloomy but eventful week in Genoa City, secrets, personal ambitions, and clever plans have intertwined to create unexpected twists that only those with patience and intelligence can overcome. Amanda Sinclair, a talented female lawyer who has overcome many storms to assert her position in this fiercely competitive world, once again falls into a difficult spiral between professional honor and personal loyalty. It is a week when Amanda is forced to choose between the principles that have been attached to her for years, or give in to the pressure of a powerful man, whom she is forced to call boss, Aristotle Dumas. It all starts with a quiet but tense conversation in Dumas' office, where the atmosphere is always cold and cautious. Amanda was summoned shortly after Phyllis Summers, a woman known for her boldness and determination, expressed her intention to meet Dumas directly to present her bold plan. Phyllis had always believed that she could sway anyone with her confidence and sharp persuasiveness, but Dumas, a man of absolute principle and control, had ordered that no one, even someone as stubborn as Phyllis, be met. Dumas knew the turmoil looming over Genoa City, and he knew that even a small mistake could collapse the entire system of power he had spent years building. In such circumstances, Amanda became an unwilling intermediary. Dumas gave her the extremely difficult task to convince Phyllis to abandon the idea of meeting, or at least to slow down any attempts to approach her. Amanda learns that this is more than just a legal job, it is a test of loyalty, of the ability to navigate situations, and of the courage to stand between a demanding boss and a friend who has helped and sympathized with her. Amanda's internal struggle becomes more intense when Dumas begins to make increasingly unreasonable demands. Not only does he avoid Phyllis, he also urges Amanda to delay her schedule, extend her stay in Washington, D.C., and even assigns her to deliver sensitive messages to other partners, under the pretext of shaking up Genoa before the week ends. Amanda realizes that she is being drawn into a grand game where every move could change the course of the entire city. The pressure is exhausting, but she also knows that her career, and even the lives of many involved, are in her hands. Meanwhile, Phyllis, who has never known the concept of giving up, continues to find ways to break down all barriers. She shares with Daniel her ambitious expectations and plans, expressing her childlike excitement as she prepares to embark on a new adventure. Although she knows that the door to meeting Dumas is almost closed, Phyllis is determined not to back down. She studies every little detail of the plan, finds every loophole to approach this mysterious tycoon, and listens to advice and warnings from loved ones, especially Daniel, the son who has witnessed his mother get into trouble many times because of her impulsiveness. Phyllis understands that this time is not like any other. Dumas is not an easy businessman, nor is he someone who can be manipulated by sudden emotions. This makes her even more determined, because Phyllis believes that only those who dare to challenge limits can change the world. However, she also realized that Amanda, her friend who had accompanied her through many incidents, was quietly avoiding and even deliberately hindering her plans. Doubt and disappointment gradually crept into Phyllis's mind, causing the already stormy relationship between the two to crack even more. On the other side, Amanda fell into a state of anxiety and worry. She did not want to hurt Phyllis, and even less wanted to ruin the rare friendship they had built with trust and sharing. But Dumas was not someone who could compromise. The messages and cold reminders from her boss kept ringing like alarm bells. Amanda had to consider every word and every action, because even a small mistake could cause her to lose everything. Amanda's inner turmoil reached its peak on the night before the decision day. She sat quietly in her hotel room, staring at her phone, where the messages from Dumas, Phyllis, and Daniel still lay there, like fragments of an unfinished puzzle. Amanda knew that tomorrow, when the sun rose, everything would change. Either she would lose Phyllis's trust, or face Dumas's anger, even punishment. Amanda chose to confront Phyllis in a small cafe where the city was still quiet. Phyllis's eyes were filled with doubt, but she could not hide her hope for even the slightest chance. Amanda gently explained that meeting Dumas at this time was impossible, that the security barriers and principles set by Dumas could not be broken. She tried to speak in the most objective tone, avoiding revealing her true feelings, the pain and helplessness of having to be the bearer of bad news. Phyllis was disappointed but still maintained her strong demeanor. She did not blame Amanda, because she understood that everyone had their own limits. However, Phyllis's determination had not diminished. If she could not go straight through the main door, she would find another way. That had always been her philosophy of life over the years. Daniel, in the role of observer, quietly noted the changes in his mother's psychology, and at the same time worried about Amanda, the woman who had been unexpectedly dragged into this unwanted battle of power and honor. Back to Dumas, he did not show any satisfaction or disappointment. For him, Amanda was just a tool in his sophisticated operating system. Praise or blame, if any, was only to promote absolute obedience. However, Amanda understood that, no matter how hard she tried, she was just a small piece in the big game that Dumas was playing. The only thing she could do was to maintain her professional principles, not allowing herself to be completely manipulated. When the week ended, the echoes of the silent battle were still there. Amanda, after all, chose to remain loyal to herself. She accepted Dumas's coldness, while trying to mend her relationship with Phyllis. Two women, each on their own path, but both understand that Genoa City has never been a place for the weak. Phyllis continues to pursue her goals in her own way, while Amanda quietly prepares for the new challenges that lie ahead. And somewhere, in the quiet of the night, Dumas' new plans are gradually being outlined, signaling the next battle for power. Where the line between friend and foe, between loyalty and betrayal, continues to be constantly tested. The Young and the Restless, with its complex and ever-changing developments, has always been a place where characters must find their own way, despite all the difficulties and storms. And the stories of Amanda, Phyllis, Dumas or Daniel will continue, when every choice, no matter how small, can create unexpected twists in the endless flow of fate and power in Genoa City. There are fateful days in Genoa City that pass quietly, but there are also days when all the intrigue and emotion seem to flow under the seemingly peaceful waves of this luxurious city. And among so many people, Amanda Sinclair once again becomes the focal point of a series of uncompromising struggles between personal feelings, the boundaries of professional ethics and the cold pressure of power from Aristotle Dumas, the ambitious boss that she both admires and fears. At night, Genoa City does not sleep, just as Amanda's mind constantly raises questions about her own choices, when she is caught up in a game of power with too many unpredictable consequences. No one knew that just a trip to Washington, D.C. with Phyllis Summers, a woman always burning with ambition, would start long days of uncertainty, where every move was scrutinized, every word could become a double-edged sword, and every person, no matter how strong, could be pushed into a dead end of betrayal and loneliness. Amanda was used to difficult missions, but she had never felt so confused and tired. Dumas' secret calls were not just orders, but like a surrounding control. He never spoke much, but each order was like a test of her loyalty and will. Phyllis was always full of energy, fearless, believing that she could shake an entire system with her sharpness and unmatched determination. She shared with Daniel her joy and dreams of her own empire, a breakthrough that would forever engrave the name of Phyllis Summers, but the more excited she was, the more she couldn't understand why Amanda, the friend she once trusted, had gradually become distant, cautious, sometimes even cold like a completely different person. For Amanda, things started to get more difficult when Dumas announced a change of plans, refusing to meet Phyllis in person even once. It was not simply a rejection of a cooperation opportunity, but a denial of all of Phyllis's efforts, and at the same time, put Amanda in an undesirable position, having to come forward to deliver bad news, facing the suspicious, even disappointed eyes of a friend who was once close. But Dumas did not stop there. He continuously tested Amanda's patience and endurance by giving her tasks to prolong time, delay all contacts, control all information leaked to the outside and ask her to convey shocking messages to secret partners, turning Genoa City upside down with just a whisper. In the long sleepless nights, Amanda struggled with each of her choices, constantly wondering who she was protecting. Dumas, the cold boss who always used his power to force her, or Phyllis, the friend who had shared hardships, now became a victim of her own calculations that she could not control. Sometimes, Amanda also thought about herself, a girl who once carried within her many aspirations for justice, now surrounded by spider webs of power and fear that she did not dare to name. While Amanda struggled to find a way out, on the other side, Phyllis refused to sit still. She began to suspect that someone was secretly sabotaging her, and she scrutinized Amanda's every word and every attitude. Phyllis shared with Daniel, the only boy who understood her reckless and sensitive personality, that this time, she felt betrayed. She did not say it out loud, but deep down, Phyllis began to believe that Amanda might have sold out their friendship for power or something greater than she could imagine. Still, Phyllis refused to back down. If she could not get in the main door, she would find a way around it. If she could not win by being fair and square, she would use all the relationships and persuasive skills that had helped her survive in this harsh world. Phyllis began to ask questions herself, gather information about Dumas's underground activities, even contacting characters who were his partners or rivals, all in order to find a small opening that could change the situation. At that moment, Daniel was the only one who could see the whole undercurrent that was quietly rising. He was heartbroken as he watched his mother embark on a dangerous path, and he also felt the pain of Amanda, the woman Daniel once had feelings for, although he never had the courage to confess. Daniel did not know who to side with, because both women were important to him in their own way. On one side was his mother, who always protected him with the strongest instinct. On the other side was his friend, his soulmate who had been through many stormy years with him. Amanda sat quietly in the darkness of her DC hotel room, the dim light filtering through the thin curtains, illuminating her tired but determined face. Dumas' messages came in droves, urging her to report on her progress, reminding her not to let anyone into his sphere of influence, including Phyllis. Somewhere in the city, Phyllis was busy working on plans B, C, even D, just to be able to turn the situation around in a flash. She still believed that nothing is impossible if she didn't give up. At the same time, Daniel secretly tried to contact Amanda, hoping to help her out of her dilemma, but he only received cold, sad answers. The next morning, Amanda decided to meet Phyllis at a quiet cafe where they had many memories. The two women faced each other, their eyes filled with so many things that could not be said in words. Amanda had to hold back her emotions to convey Dumas's harsh message, but she didn't expect Phyllis to remain strangely calm. Despite her disappointment, Phyllis didn't cry or get angry, she just silently looked into her friend's eyes, as if searching for some sign of sympathy between the layers of shells that had been worn for so long. Amanda could only nod silently, because she understood. From now on, between them would no longer be absolute trust, but walls silently built by suspicion, hurt and helplessness. The story seemed to end there, but in fact, everything had just begun. After the meeting, Phyllis suddenly disappeared from Amanda's sight. Daniel also couldn't contact his mother for a long day. Amanda began to feel extremely insecure. She was worried that Phyllis would do something dangerous, or worse, push herself into a power spiral from which no one could escape. But she still didn't dare tell Dumas about those worries. Dumas continued to urge, threaten, even promise a bright future for Amanda's law career if she did her part. But all those promises to Amanda now came as cold, indifferent words. The next night, a secret message arrived to Amanda, not from Dumas but from a stranger, a former partner of Dumas's, whose career had been ruined by Dumas for daring to disobey an order. This person warned Amanda about the price of going too far beyond the ethical boundary, about the irreversible consequences of becoming a pawn for plans she did not fully understand. Amanda was stunned by what she read. For the first time, she realized that the game was bigger than she had thought, that she was just a pawn in a game where every move was coldly calculated and no one was truly safe. On the outside, Genoa City was not as peaceful as it seemed. Rumors of Dumas's plan to shake the city began to spread among businessmen, business partners, and even journalists who were known for their love of news. From small cafes to closed meetings, names like Amanda, Phyllis, and Dumas were mentioned as new symbols of an underground battle that no one dared to name. Some people secretly followed Amanda's every move, trying to take advantage of her weakness to turn the tables. Others sought out Phyllis, offering to cooperate or simply wanting to see if they could pull her to their side in this power play. Daniel, after many futile attempts, finally found his mother. In the moment when they hugged each other for a long time, Daniel realized that Phyllis was no longer the impulsive woman of the past. She had learned to be silent, to hide all her thoughts, even the most painful ones. But Daniel also understood that if this continued, there would come a time when all emotions and all inhibitions would burst into a huge storm, sweeping away everything they had ever held onto. Finally, after many days of struggle, Amanda made her decision. She decided that she would not let herself become a tool anymore. On a rainy night, she went to Dumas's office, facing him with a determined look, ready to bear all the consequences. She frankly said that she would not continue any mission that would hurt her friends or destroy her professional value. Dumas, for the first time, was silent for a long time, then just smiled faintly, a smile that Amanda could not guess the meaning of. He did not get angry, nor did he promise, just emphasized that every choice had its price. But Amanda was no longer afraid. She knew that, even if she lost everything, at least she would still keep her self-respect and the friendship she cherished, although her relationship with Phyllis would probably never be the same. And then, as dawn broke over Genoa City, Amanda quietly left Dumas's office, leaving behind a silent battle that hurt everyone. Phyllis, from afar, watched her friend leave, her eyes filled with so many unspeakable things. Daniel stood at the crossroads, between two strong women, knowing that these wounds would take a long time to heal, but then everything would continue, like the rainy and sunny seasons of Genoa City. Because in this city, no one really wins, no one really loses, only those who dare to stand up after each fall, dare to fight to the end for what they believe in, even if it costs everything. The story between Amanda, Phyllis, Dumas and Daniel is just a prelude to the next series of stormy days, where all moral boundaries, loyalties, friendships and desires for power continue to be tested to the end, and then buried secrets will gradually be revealed, leading to many unexpected consequences. And that is why Genoa City, with its indomitable souls, is always a place where every day can become a crossroads of fate, where everyone has to write their own story, tirelessly, without stopping, regardless of danger and pain. Rumors of Victor's secret manipulation of Jabot stock seeped into every corner of Genoa City, even reaching the ears of the most astute lawyers. Amanda, who was sensitive to unusual signs, quickly discovered signs of insider trading, shady contracts, and the mysterious appearance of phantom investment firms. But the problem was that any legal action at this point could put Jabot in danger, even exposing a weakness for Victor to exploit. Amanda faced pressure from Jabot's board of directors, who were worried about the stock's value and feared that the scandal would damage Jabot's reputation, and from Jack, who wanted to protect the company but also wanted everything resolved quietly to avoid all-out war. In that moment, Amanda was forced to choose, either use her legal knowledge to protect the principle of transparency to the end, even if she had to confront Victor, who could destroy her career and reputation with just one phone call, or temporarily close her eyes and hope that things would not be too bad to keep herself, the company and her fragile relationship with Jack safe. The torment grew as Amanda witnessed Jack's daily breakdown from the news Ashley brought back, while Tracy silently followed every step of the family members, trying to be the glue that held everyone together. Ashley, although decisive on the surface, was troubled because she had brought back gloomy news that could push her brother into an unprecedented loneliness. The whole Abbott mansion was covered in a heavy atmosphere, where everyone had secrets, all imprisoned themselves in unspeakable choices. That evening, as the sun set, Jack sat alone in his study, facing the confidential documents Ashley had just handed him. The yellow light cast a pensive look on his face, his eyes shining with determination. It was time to give in. Jack called Amanda over, asking her to cooperate with him, ready to launch any legal measures, even accepting to confront Victor in public, to protect Jabot. Amanda, still full of hesitation, finally understood. With someone like Victor Newman, any concession meant defeat. The next morning, Ashley, Jack, Tracy and Amanda sat together, for the first time in years, as a real family. No more personal arguments, no more hidden hurts, just unity in the face of a common enemy. Ashley re-emphasized all the information she had gathered, Amanda presented the legal plan, Tracy pledged to lobby the longtime shareholders to support Jack no matter what happened. For men, for broken souls, now stand together in the face of a common challenge, the battle against Victor, the man who has tormented generations of Abbotts.